What is the biggest misconception about Pilates? There's a lot. Do you think everyone should be doing Pilates? Well, this question is very nice. Oh, this might be the hardest one of all. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new around here, I am Michelle. I am the founder, lead teacher, and creator of Real Good Pilates. I'm doing something very different today that I've never done before, which is a Q&A video to celebrate us reaching the 25,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, which is huge. So I asked for questions both here on the channel as well as on my Instagram. I gathered all those questions up and I'm going to answer them now. If you don't follow me yet over there, please do. I post a lot of kind of day-to-day behind the scenes stuff and information about my app and all the things. So be sure to follow me over there. So between those questions that got submitted and then just some frequently asked questions that I get quite a lot, I thought I would put together a little Q&A so you could get to know me a little bit better and get to know a little bit more about Real Good Pilates. So get cozy. I have a cup of tea. You can do the same, and let's get into it. But before we get into the questions, I want to show you, I'm so excited. I just released my first ever merchandise for Real Good Pilates. I'm a big, super big fan of merch and really good merch. So I worked really hard to design a whole bunch of really fun pieces. So they are on my website. I will link them below if you'd like to get some and support Real Good Pilates and have some really cute outfits in the process. So first, I'll just tell you a little bit about me and my backstory. So I started teaching Pilates in 2016. I had previously been a dancer and had kind of burned out of that whole world and had taken Pilates as cross training for my dancing. I never really thought I would teach it until one day one of my coworkers said, "Hey, I'm going to a Pilates teacher training," and it kind of got my wheels turning. So I just kind of on a whim went to the training and absolutely fell in love, and that was my trajectory ever since. I am fully certified in Stott Pilates, which is a contemporary method of Pilates, and I'm also an instructor trainer. So meaning I teach teacher training courses and guide the next generation of Pilates instructors. So I really, really love that aspect of my job. It's super fulfilling and so rewarding to help kind of mentor the next generation of amazing minds. So that's just a little bit about me and my teaching background. Now, first question, why did you start your YouTube channel? That is such a great question. If you had asked me at any time in my past if I would ever start a YouTube channel, I would have absolutely said no, definitely not. I'm a pretty quiet, reserved person, so I never ever would have pictured putting myself out like that. But during, 2020, 2021 times when the world was shut down, we were all at home. I was teaching a lot of my clients from in studio online, which I had never done before. So that was kind of my first taste of teaching in a video format. And I kind of got the hang of it and liked it. But again, was just doing it for my own clients. And at some point, I just got the idea to kind of see what was available on YouTube in terms of Pilates workouts. And when I looked into it, there wasn't as much as I would have thought, or there wasn't the kind of workouts that I like to teach or do. I didn't really see those represented. So it kind of got my wheels turning, and I was very nervous and very scared, but I just kind of didn't overthink it and just kind of did it. I bought the cheapest camera I could buy that had the nicest film quality. I did tons of research on all the equipment I needed, got it, and I just started filming with what I had, which was not a lot. So I started doing mat classes first. I did that for quite a while, saved up some money, bought my own reformer for at home, which is this guy, my beautiful baby. And that was really the start of when the channel really started to take off. I think reformer workouts are kind of my specialty. They're my first love. So I felt incredibly inspired when I got my reformer. And I think that's what there was the least of out on the internet. Very few do really high quality reformer guided workouts. So when I started putting up my reformer classes, that's really when I started getting some traction. And I'm so happy. It's the best thing I've ever done is start my channel. It's completely changed the whole trajectory of my career. So yeah, I'm so grateful. That was in 2022 that I started my YouTube channel, and that was almost 4 years ago now. So the growth has just been insane, and it's so cool to see. Well, this question is very nice. How did you become a pro at YouTube? That I don't know about that. Says, teach me your ways. I think the biggest thing with YouTube is you just have to start. That's probably the hardest part, is just getting started, ripping the band-aid off, and then being consistent. I really tried to treat it like that was my full-time job, or that was my business. I wanted people to start coming to my YouTube channel and not have it look like I was just a newbie and starting out. So from the start, I tried to make it as professional as possible. I uploaded a lot in those early days to try to get some traction. I initially uploaded twice a week, every week for I don't even know how long. And then eventually when I added the reformer, it was one mat class and one reformer class. So just the more you can output is huge. Obviously, you want the quality there, but I think when you're first learning, you kind of just have to make yourself do it and make yourself produce a lot. It's how you learn and how you get better. If you want to see what it looks like to get better, you can go back and look at my original videos. It's kind of fun to see the growth. It's so different from then to now. I think another huge thing about being successful on YouTube is not overthinking it. You can't wait until you have the perfect outfit or the perfect setup, or you think you're in a perfect place and you know everything before you start doing it. You just kind of have to put things out and then learn from them. So I think that's one thing that has really served me well, is not overthinking. Just I try to make things and put them out, do my best. Yeah, because if you overthink it, you'll end up never putting anything out, and that is definitely what I think probably stops a lot of people's progress that maybe could have gone further. Oh, I love this question. So this is from a fellow instructor. How to deal with negative feedback when first starting out teaching. It's so hard. I was just talking with a new teacher the other day who maybe she had taught, it was like her second or third class she had ever subbed ever. And she said if she hadn't had a second class to teach right after, she would have left after the first one. She just wanted to cry. Somebody made a comment, made her feel bad. And I felt it so deeply, because it's so scary when you're a new teacher to put yourself out there in front of a room of strangers. So I get it. You kind of just have to have a tough shell and just let anything anyone says roll off your back. Digest it later, talk to your friends about it, cry about it. But especially in the moment, you just have to keep teaching the class, because you're in a room of, who knows, 10, 11 people, and they have paid to get a good workout from you. So you need to kind of put on a brave face and carry on. Something I like to tell my new teachers when we're going through teacher training is, no matter how new you feel, right? You go in the room for the first time and you feel so new and you worry you don't know enough. You always are going to know more than the students, right? They haven't been through teacher training. So you always are the one with the most knowledge in the room. So just feel secure about that. You paid the money, you've done the hours to do your training, you have the knowledge. You just have to kind of take some deep breaths and practice not letting what happens around you fluster you, so you can get that knowledge out. So much easier said than done. But again, the negative comments, I think usually it's more of a reflection on the person who said the comment, than it is about you. If there's constructive feedback to be had in it, try to assess it and apply it and see how you can make yourself better. Obviously, it's important to grow from that. But if it's just kind of mean and nasty, try to let it roll off your back. And it's probably not as much about you as you think it is. And just keep showing up, because I promise, like with anything else, it gets better and it gets so much easier, and then it starts to get really fun. So you have to stick around long enough for it to really get to the fun stage. Okay, this one is also from a fellow instructor. How to build confidence when it comes to cueing and tactile corrections. This is really big. This can feel kind of scary to like approach someone's space, and it almost feels like you're saying, "Hey, you're doing this wrong," right? Which feels scary. For me personally, I always try to approach giving corrections or cues as like a suggestion. I never want to come off saying, "Hey, I'm right. You have to do this my way. You're wrong." It's just kind of abrasive and never really feels good. I mean, it's their class, it's their body. I'm just here to offer what I know is going to help them experience the movement better. So just offer it to them like on a silver platter, like, hey, this would make this feel better. You want to try it? And you know, if they don't want to, fine. Can't force them if they don't want to take a modification or take an option you're giving them. Obviously, if it's a safety thing, if they're doing something that is unsafe, you might have to be a little bit more firm and say, you know, no, we're going to do it this way instead. I think it can also help to be able to back up what you're saying with the why. So instead of just do this, you can offer why you're giving them that and what they'll benefit from if they make the change. So, hey, if you do it this way, you're going to feel your abs working way more. Or if you do it this way, I bet your wrists are going to be more comfortable and you'll be able to do more repetitions. So, kind of weaving that in, giving them the why, it really kind of ups the ante and gives them a reason to want to follow it. With the tactile corrections, it always helps to kind of ask for permission. Hey, can I help you? Can I adjust you here? Can I move your foot there? I try to kind of go easy on the tactile corrections. I don't like to move somebody else's body for them. I like to try to use my words, get them to process it, and move their own body as much as possible. So when I approach tactile corrections, it's more of a gentle, like a poke here, nudge here. Hey, you should be feeling it here. Just kind of my own personal strategy. I try not to manhandle people because you can also overly move them, say on a moving surface. It's not really safe to kind of push somebody too hard or something like that. So typically, as a rule of thumb, you want to keep your tactile kind of hands-on cues pretty light, more suggestive, helpful, not really forcing them into any positions. You also don't want to be responsible for like hurting somebody, right? If you kind of push them too hard and they go, ow, you know, that doesn't look good on you as the instructor. So I'm more of a hands-off person most of the time, and then just little pokes here and there when assistive. That's kind of my personal method. Okay, next question. What do you think makes the best classes? That's a good question. For me, as like the student in a class, I love when a class feels really fun. I don't like when a class feels like it's never ending. I don't like feeling like, why are we doing this? This feels kind of pointless. I like everything to have a purpose and really have an impact and pack a punch. I also really like when I feel like I get kind of my bang for my buck in a given position. I don't like lots of spring changes or lots of equipment changes unnecessarily. So I like things that kind of flow and make sense. But I also like to feel really challenged, right? And within those challenges, having layers and options, right? Again, I don't really like a class to feel like a boot camp, like there's one way to do it and you have to do it this one way. I like kind of knowing what the goal is and then having some different ways in and out of it that can work for different bodies. So I think having lots of layers, having it be fun, lighthearted within correct technique. So yes, we're working hard, but not taking ourselves too seriously. So taking it seriously, but trying to have a good time, because I think that makes time pass more quickly and just makes the whole experience more enjoyable. So it should be this really nice balance of working hard and just having a good time, because if your workout is a good time, you're going to want to do it more often, right? Ooh, this is an interesting one. Why is the thumb instructed to wrap around the front of the foot bar, say in planks, versus behind? So I cue this all the time in my classes on YouTube. You've probably heard me say it. Anytime we're putting hands on the foot bar, especially if we're going to do something weight bearing, like in a plank, I will instruct to put thumbs on top of the bar. Many reasons for that. First one is when your thumbs come underneath the foot bar, the first thing that happens is your shoulders tend to internally rotate. With that, you end up kind of caving your shoulders forward, and it's not the most ideal weight-bearing position. You end up getting unnecessary tension in the neck and shoulders. So that's one reason to bring it on top. Second, just for your thumb joint, it's not ideal to have, right? If you think of it wrapping around the bar, your thumb joint is way down here, and then you're putting your full body weight on it. It might feel fine at the time, but over time, that's not the best position to be putting tons of weight on your thumb joint in. So by bringing it up on top, you're putting more weight onto the heel of your hand, which is soft, cushy, and really made to kind of take your body weight. And it allows your thumb to be in a nice kind of neutral position like the rest of your fingers. And then also with the thumb on top, you have a little bit more options of where you can grip on the bar. And I will often cue people to tilt their knuckles a little bit more forward on the bar so that their wrist is in a little bit more of a neutral position. Because maybe you've felt this, if your wrist is too kind of kinked up and creased and folded in an extended position, it just puts a lot of pressure on the wrist joint. Whereas if you tip your knuckles forward, it's more neutral and it kind of spreads the force out more evenly. So that's the reason. There are some advanced kind of higher level exercises where you're in really precarious positions, and I will kind of cue people that it's all right if you want to keep the thumb underneath just for safety to feel more secure. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to cue thumb over top for all those reasons we just talked about. Aw, no question, but super big thank you from Belgium for making home Pilates so good. Oh, that makes me so happy. That's the whole reason I started my channel, is to make home Pilates real good and as good as studio Pilates. So thank you from Belgium. That is so cool. Oh, so nice again. I love your YouTube videos. Hope to subscribe to the RGP app soon. Yay, I hope you do. If you guys don't know, I also have my own app. It's called the Real Good Pilates app. So that is where I upload the bulk of my videos. I upload 2 new classes at least over on the app per week, if not more. Those classes are totally ad-free, and there's just an enormous library of exclusive classes that are not here on YouTube, full length, and it's just so much fun. We have a whole chat community over there, programs, challenges to follow along with, and it's just the funnest Pilates place to be on the internet, I think. So I'd love for you to join us over there. If you ever want to try it, you can join with a 7-day free trial and see if you like it. So I'll leave the link for that down below if you want to check it out. Okay, back to kind of the technical questions. I'm having pain in my shoulders after footwork or feet in straps from the shoulder blocks. Advice, please. Such a good question. This is really common. I hear this a lot when teaching in person in group classes, especially to newer students. So it's kind of a learning curve to understand how to properly kind of stabilize your shoulders when you're doing these supine exercises on the reformer. So things like footwork, where you're laying down and your shoulders are pressing into these shoulder blocks. A lot of people, when they first start out, they just kind of chill with their upper body and push their feet into the foot bar, and that ends up kind of ramming the shoulder blocks into their shoulders and creating a lot of discomfort. So I will cue people that they actually have to do some work up here to stabilize this so that they're not just passively getting pushed into the shoulder blocks. So I'll cue to have them, first of all, maybe scoot down just a little bit away so they have a little bit of space initially to start with. Then I'll cue for them to push down into the carriage with their hands. So by pushing down, it activates the posterior shoulder muscles, kind of grounds your body into the carriage so that you're a little bit more of a strong force to push into the shoulder blocks. If somebody's really tall, you could have them wrap their fingers around the bottom of the carriage. If they're really feeling uncomfortable, you can kind of grip with your hands. That creates a little bit of opposition so that they're not getting pushed so hard. That's not my favorite one, but in a pinch, that will work. And then if none of those tricks work, I will recommend that people decrease their spring tension, at least at first. So that will reduce the amount of force by which their shoulders are getting pushed into the shoulder blocks. So then hopefully they can learn those scapular stability strategies with that lessened spring tension. And then once they get that, they can build the spring tension back up over time and kind of learn. I find this isn't really an issue that lingers. Usually people kind of learn it pretty quickly once they get going, and then it doesn't seem to be a lingering issue unless there was an injury or something extra going on with the shoulders. Most people kind of figure out how to navigate around that after a little while. I like this one. Do you think everyone should be doing Pilates and why? So, right off the bat, my biased Pilates instructor answer is yes, of course. I think everybody should do Pilates, mostly because I think everybody should move their bodies and exercise for all the health benefits you can think of. Exercising is super important. I think finding a form of exercise that you enjoy and resonate with is huge. If you don't enjoy your workouts, chances are you're not going to be able to stick with them long term. I find that a lot of people come to Pilates because they have not enjoyed other forms of exercise. I find that a lot in my group classes. People will say, "Oh, I used to go to the gym, but I don't like it. I used to run, but no, it's too hard. I don't like it." And they kind of hear about Pilates, they're intrigued by it. I mean, right? You get to lay down for part of it. So I think Pilates is a good kind of gateway form of exercise. And my mission, my sneaky mission, when I do get my clients in the room who maybe quote unquote have never liked to exercise, I will kind of ease them in and start sneaking in as much fitnessy things into my classes as I can for them, in kind of under the umbrella of Pilates, so that they are trying hopefully to meet kind of the general physical fitness guidelines, even if they say they don't quote unquote like to work out. But I do find that a lot of people who don't enjoy a lot of other forms of exercises do enjoy Pilates. It's just, it feels good on your body. It has a really good balance of stretching and strengthening. It has a lot of variety in it. There's endless possibilities of what we can do, right? So it's hard to get bored if you're really kind of digging in and using the machinery or the mat or the props to their fullest potential. So yes, I think everyone should do Pilates. I think it's the most amazing complement into a fitness routine. I'm never going to be someone to say that there's only one right way to exercise. I think that's silly. I do lots of different forms of exercise myself, besides Pilates, in addition to Pilates. So I think everything has its place. But yeah, the one that you enjoy the most, like that's what you're going to want to do the most, right? The other cool thing about Pilates is truly everybody can do it. And I know that sounds cliche, but I have seen clients literally on all ends of the age spectrum, the capability spectrum, the health and wellness spectrum, people with all sorts of injuries and things going on in their bodies. And there's a way to modify Pilates to work for all of those people. So I think it's a very inclusive, approachable form of exercise that everyone can take part in, which is something super unique and very cool. Ooh, how often should you do Pilates? Loaded question. Hard to say. We'd have to know kind of what your whole wellness routine and exercise routine looks like. I can't tell you for sure, but I think if you're just starting out doing Pilates, I think to really feel the difference and start to notice the benefits of Pilates, I think I would aim to try to at least start 2 to 3 times a week. That way you're kind of doing it almost every other day. And then you can kind of start to stack the benefits. If you're only doing it, say, once a week, that leaves such a big span of days in between where you're not doing it. It almost gives your body time to like reset, if that makes sense. So 2 to 3 times is like that sweet spot that I'll tell people to try and kind of see how their body feels. And then from there, you just have to see how it works with everything else you're doing. So if you're doing other forms of physical fitness, you have to take that into account, just with your whole overall kind of workload. I don't find that most people can do it too much. It's usually a form of exercise that doesn't leave you feeling super wrecked. So as long as you don't feel too worn down or overly sore after doing it, most people can do Pilates many, many, many times during the week, and feel the benefits rather than feeling worn down. So you have to kind of listen to your body in that way. But yeah, I can't tell each individual person how often they should do it. I do it probably 3 to 4 days a week in the midst of all the other things that I do. Um, so yeah, that's a judgment call, but definitely give yourself the chance of doing it at least 2, 3 times a week to start. And then you can kind of turn the dial up or down from there based on how your body's feeling, would be my recommendation. Oh, I like this one. What is the biggest misconception about Pilates? There's a lot. I think probably the biggest misconception about Pilates is that it's easy, that it's just breathing and stretching and laying down and putting your foot in a strap. I think it gets a bad rap for not being that challenging, but it all depends on how you do it and what your goals are with it. Can it be relaxing and slow and chill? Yes. But can it be super energizing and challenging and invigorating? Yes. So it's not just one or the other. Yeah. So I think a lot of other forms of exercise in the industry kind of look down on it. I think it's getting better, but yeah, kind of poo-pooing it for like, oh, that's just rehabilitation or that's just like yoga with equipment, which is so not true. Pilates is this gigantic spectrum, and there's all these different kind of shades of gray of kind of what Pilates can be. In my approach, I try to offer classes that give the full spectrum. So I try to include strength training principles into my Pilates. I try to include bursts of cardio. We try to work endurance. We try to progressively overload to build strength. But then we also work on mobility and relaxation and centering. So I think there's a place for all of it. I think that's a big misconception. I think another one is that it's only for girls. That's a huge misconception. It was created by a man and can be easily done by any man. But I think when you look at the marketing of the Pilates industry, it's all focused on women. You look in a Pilates studio, chances are you're going to see a whole bunch of ladies. So the guys are coming around slowly. The ones that do try it benefit from it crazily. I have some of my most loyal and into it clients, I'd say, are the gentlemen who discover it and realize how good it can make their body feel. And then one of my least favorite misconceptions is the like Pilates princess thing that like to do Pilates or to be a Pilates instructor, you have to be kind of prissy, prim, perfect, wearing the skimpy pink clothes, and I don't know. That's not my approach. So I dislike that misconception because that's not how I want to be seen. I don't want to be a Pilates princess. But if you want to be, that's fine. There's room for everybody. Okay, I like this one. How do you keep your classes fresh without overcomplicating things? That is a really fine line. I think it can be really easy to feel so pressured to be clever or creative with your classes that you can end up taking it too far and doing things just for the sake of being flashy or cool. And I think we get away from the why, like why are we doing this and what is it doing for us? So I think always coming back to that question, like when you're programming your workouts, if you can't answer the question of why are you doing that, then it probably shouldn't be included in the class. And it doesn't have to be a deep why. It could just be, well, it's a fun little thing to throw on to the end, or I wanted to make this series last a little longer. It doesn't always have to be that deep, but it's a good kind of check to stay in line with what we're actually doing, right? We're trying to get stronger. We're trying to improve all the many aspects of our physical capacity. So I really try to be mindful of adding things that don't make sense. So keeping it simple where it needs to be simple, and branching out without feeling like you're reinventing the wheel every time. How do you decide what to film next? That's such a good question. If you could see my notes folder, my like whiteboard over here in my studio, I kind of have just like a running list of ideas. Anytime I think of an idea for a class, I'll kind of jot it down. So when I need inspiration, I'll sometimes go and look at those notes and kind of see like things that have been popping into my brain. It depends. So if I'm working on like a certain series of classes or a program, it's pretty systematic. So I'll come in and I'll kind of give a basic framework of what the whole program is going to look like, and then I'll kind of go down and attack planning and filming each class. When I'm not working on a specific program, I like to kind of leave it a little bit more open-ended. I find I work the best when I feel really inspired to do a workout, or I'm filming something that's really interesting me at the time. If I try to force something that I'm not into, it doesn't always come out very well. So yeah, I just kind of try to go off of what I'm feeling. I'll kind of come into the studio, start with a spark of an idea, and then kind of go from there and build out the class. I always try to do a well-rounded class no matter what, even if we're focusing on a certain area. And then I also take requests from my community. So in the Real Good Pilates app, we have a whole chat group where people can request certain classes. So I really, really love that. I love knowing what people want to see, what they need from their workouts. So that's a big source of inspiration. I try to take those really seriously, film them and turn them around and get them out for my members so they can enjoy and benefit from those. Like I had a member recently who her goal has been to work on getting her splits, which that's kind of unique. I would never have thought to make a class designed around that, but she really wanted a deep stretch class focused on stretching the muscles needed to achieve the splits. So we did it for her, and I felt so good after. I'm kind of guilty of not stretching enough unless I really am forced to. So that was really good for me and really good for the whole community. So those are some of the ways that I go about planning classes. Okay, to finish the video off, I have a couple little rapid fire questions of kind of this or that I'm going to answer. I'm not going to overthink it too hard. Okay, so first, mat or reformer? Reformer, all day. It's my first love. It's my baby, reformer. Morning or evening practice? Morning. When the sun goes down, I'm done. I'm in my cozies. I don't want to work out if it's nighttime. Slow and controlled or athletic and spicy? Athletic and spicy. Cueing breath first or movement first? Ooh, movement. Then I add the breath after. Do you like to repeat your favorite class or always try something new? Ooh, I'm like 50-50. I like to go back to my favorites, but then yeah, I need something fresh and new too. So I'm half-half. I can't pick on that one. Ooh, props or no props? Props. 100%. I want all the props all the time. Workout in silence or background music? Background music, definitely. If I could, I would have music on while I was filming. If for my own workouts, yeah, I like to bump the tunes. Coffee or tea? I'm drinking tea right now, but I am a coffee girl all the way. Do you try to talk through your mistakes or cut and redo? Oh boy, I mess up a lot and I cut and redo a lot. I will talk through it if I can smooth over it and get away with it. But yeah, I mess up a lot. So I have to cut things out pretty often. 100 or teaser? Who? Teaser. The ball or the ring? I like the ball. Yeah, I go for the ball. All right, last final question. What is my favorite reformer exercise? Oh, this might be the hardest one of all. I think I change every day when I say what my favorite is, or I'll teach it and say, oh, this is my favorite, or that's my favorite. If I had to really say my favorite, I think either, okay, my favorite advanced exercise, let's go with that, would be either snake or tendon stretch. If we're talking like nice, feel good exercise, then it has to be short spine all the way. All right, I think that's enough questions for one day. But if you enjoyed this, if you want to do another Q&A like this again with me, please leave me some more questions down in the comments below, and I will put them in the lineup for a video in the future. I just want to say thank you again for all of your support over these past many years of having the channel. It is because of you guys watching and enjoying and interacting with my videos that we have made it this far. So thank you for 25K, and I am looking forward to the next 25 and beyond. So I'm so grateful for you guys, and thank you for being here. Bye-bye. If you want to take advantage of everything that Real Good Pilates has to offer, be sure to download the Real Good Pilates app. There's a link to download the app in the first comment below or right up here in the corner. In the app, you'll find my complete library of workouts and exclusive classes that you will not find here on YouTube, as well as Pilates challenges and specialized programs for you to follow along with and to help you stay on track with your goals, with a huge variety of classes ranging from 5 all the way up to 60 minutes, as well as beginner all the way through advanced levels. There's really something for everybody. And with new classes uploaded every week, there will always be something new for you to dig into and tons of variety. There's a community chat feature where you're able to connect with your fellow members, ask me questions, or even request classes. So click the link down in the first comment below or right up here in the corner to start your 7-day free trial and see if it's right for you. So I'll see you over in the app for even more Real Good Pilates. Bye-bye.